Mike here, Money, Marriage, and Media, and today we're looking at Eight at the Table, right? Well, I can already tell by just from the picture, it's Rico and who I don't know who this other young lady is, but title is it true that women want bad boys in their 20s and good guys in their 30s and 40s? Let's see where we're going. Hopefully, we're going. I haven't seen this yet, so hoping for high level conversation. But we're gonna peel back some layers and actually get some solutions or a better understanding. Let's go.
And that's the problem, because the world changes, the time changes, and what you are doing that might be ineffective or effective could have the opposite reaction in this current time and space. So if you were 20 in 2000, let's just say you're 20 in 2000, and the way you were was not being, heavily sought after. That could actually be entirely different in 2022, especially when if you were, let's just make this an example, if you were a woman that was carrying yourself with, elegance and, woman-like characteristics that are not being displayed so much here in 2022, your value has probably went from being average to being rare. So realistically, the older you
Makes
are
sense.
does not necessarily make you wise, because if you go and say, hey, well, you know what? I tried this before. It wasn't working before. Let me actually become, more promiscuous like these other women. You're actually just biting the bait, and you're putting yourself in a losing position. So what makes you wise is being able to understand why things didn't work and what can you do to make things work now. How can you grow in the current space and really actually execute learning from your mistakes rather than implementing them and being cemented to them, because they could be wrong or they could be right.
I think what Jada is saying is that you should be more wise as you get older, because
that's all I
you
was
should be
saying.
learning from your experiences, and you'd like to think that more people than not learn as they get older.
And,
That's
yeah.
what it should be.
But you should go to college, right?
You just
You
said
should
you
go to
shouldn't.
school. But there's a lot of things you should be doing, and there's a lot of things that we should be doing. But at the end of the day, should and reality is not really always one hand in hand. I just think this: if you really want a relationship, getting a relationship is not that hard for a man or a woman. I think people like to complicate life, and life is extremely simple. If you want what you want, you need to know how to be what you want wants.
High level conversation. That's 100% true. A lot of times, what happens is that we just get lazy and don't want to do it.
Okay? If you don't want to do that, you're not going to get it. It's a simple result. And
Yeah.
if you think you are doing it and you're not getting the results, that means you're not doing it right. So now that means you have to reassess, regroup, and revisit.
As you should be doing by the time you're 40.
Well, by the time you're whatever.
No, you should be doing it before then. Again, I've said this in other videos. This is why we need to be promoting nuclear families, so that we can, so that our kids can benefit and become. There is a better chance of them maturing sooner, mentally. And again, the average age for marriage is, well, look, that might be going in a different direction. Let's keep going. I'll summarize at the end.
Whatever age. I don't care if you're 25. Realistically, there is no excuse for an adult who is old enough to drink and put poison in their body to not have the cognitive function to understand who they want to be and what they want to attract. It doesn't matter your age.
Ooh.
There's 25-year-olds who are more wise than 45-year-olds, and vice versa. So at the end of the day, it's all about understanding life. We talked about this, the degree. The main degree that you should want to have is a degree on life. The degree on people and understanding what you want out of life and what can you make life, or how you can make life work for you, whether it be a relationship, an occupation, or whatever the case.
So you don't think there are any circumstances in which someone has worked on themselves, they're realistic in what they want out of a partner, but there really isn't anyone around them or in their circle that would be interested in being with them?
I think that
Okay, so what she's really asking is that if I go and do all this work, what guarantees do I have? None. You don't have any. But we're not talking about this is again possibility versus probability. You increase your chances of getting what you want when you do the work. It's still not guaranteed, but you have a better chance of it happening. Possibility versus probability.
what could happen, well, I can't say there's a, clear cut, but I would say that there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. But I would say that that person is either lacking something, not understanding something, or missing something, or what they want is really not for them. See, I've learned to understand that sometimes rejection, or not sometimes, I believe all the time, rejection is your protection. So if what you want is not finding you, then maybe that's not what you actually need. So what you should start to understand is, what are you attracting? Why are you attracting it? Maybe you're attracting people who are, Captain Save-A-Hos because you really need to be saved. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need in your life at that moment. Whatever that may be, you're attracting what you necessarily need, and that's what I firmly believe. I don't believe life misguides you. I believe we misguide ourselves.
So let me tell you my theory about.
This is exactly why I wanted to start looking at 8 at the table, because of the stuff he just said. Powerful stuff. Not the first time we've heard it either. Now, I don't reference Kevin Samuels a lot, but he was one of the first people on to a mainstream audience that said that the guy that you want, what does he want? And that's basically boils down to what Rico is talking about for her, because she's talking about doing all this work and then it not being worth it. Well, again, you need to focus on what it is that you want. You want marriage from a certain type of guy? Okay, well, then you need to become the wife that he's looking for. A lot of times, we also need to preference here, because a lot of times we'll see women who talk about doing the work. I'm working on myself, and and the goal is a relationship. Are you working on the things that matter to men? Because a lot of times women will have that discussion about, well, I'm working on myself. I'm getting this real estate license. How many times have we seen that, right? A lot of the things that they're working on, they are the qualities that the man they are looking for would have. I mean, again, if your goal is to get a certain type of guy, then you need to be working on the things that he's looking for in a wife. You're going to have to get to know that guy. Sadly, I don't see a lot of that happening. But, again, the whole point of high-level conversations is we start peeling back the layers so that, these things become more obvious. And we can stop wasting time, because we don't have a lot of it.
Attraction, which is not a very popular one.
I love it. I love not popular things.
I look at attraction and what you attract as everyone is a light, right? And if you've ever been down south or you've been to the Caribbean, there's lots of insects, different types of insects that are attracted to the light, right?
Moths.
Nice ones, ugly ones, ones with, 8 legs, 10 legs, right? And then, right, all different types. And I think what it is that we as people choose which insect we're going to entertain. I don't think that you are, I don't think that you exist and you only attract bad or you only attract good. I think you attract all. And then us as an individual, we're in control to choose which one of these we're going to entertain.
Right, because we always talk about the types of things that we do and don't like and don't allow and don't accept and I don't like.
I don't agree with that, because men who follow the dime, men who are disciplined, they have integrity, morals, and ethics, they're going to avoid certain types of women altogether. Because they're going to look at it and see, like, okay, how she dressed, what kind of interactions is she having, what is she doing, what does she do for a living? If that's the case, then, a certain type of women men just avoid. And then they go scream on social media about, there ain't no good men out here. So it's not that. It's again, we go back to, for ladies, because this is really some good game for ladies. The man that you want, what does he want? And you need to focus on that, and you need to become that. Because now, if you're going by what she says, then that means that women don't have to do anything. Then you just pick from the guys that are around you. But that's not working though. Because you can look at the marriage race in our community. How many of these women that are following that philosophy are getting married? So, it sounds good, but in reality, are they practicing that? So, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm always open to that possibility. Let's keep going to see what they're talking about.
like that hair, you got to work out, or like we talk about so many things. You got to work out, you got to look this way, walk that way, talk this way, have this 6 figures, whatever. And then, that's what our issue is, and that's where we mess up, because instead of like really analyzing the insects that we're attracting, we're just picking something just based off of the attraction,
some shallow
some
shit.
bullshit.
No, you're picking it off of what really, and
mostly shallow stuff.
It's not. Well, let's go one step further, right? It is technically shallow. I believe people pick what they are told they should want, right? If you're a woman, you're told, and I already said this, but if you're a woman and you're told that you should have a man that is emotionally intelligent, that's what you're gonna try to attract. But maybe you're a woman that don't need somebody who's so emotionally intelligent. Maybe you need someone who's more handy. I don't know. I'm just making an example. As a man, we're told that we should want the baddest woman. Well, maybe I don't need the baddest, prettiest girl. Maybe what I actually need is a smart woman who's going to help me build my business, because she's business oriented herself. So I think everything really starts within us, and not only do I agree with your attraction of the light analogy, I also think that, if you learn to understand yourself, then you'll be like, well, why am I not picking caterpillars and I'm over here picking centipedes? You know what I'm saying? And then the worst part is, 10 years later, you go back and you pick another goddamn centipede. In fact, you pick the same centipede that you seen 10 years ago, and the butterfly that you curved, the caterpillar that you curved is now a butterfly. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta just be better and put your leg up sometimes.
So is people going back or not?
I have a question.
Rico, I like what you said about, like, well, did you say this?
I said
it.
it.
Or did I just make this up in my head? But
We'll go with either one.
either one, right? You said it, I said it, I thought it, whatever. Yeah. But like knowing like yourself, or like what you want, I feel like is very important, because when you know what you want, then you can go after what you want. And I feel like tying it back to going back to an ex, I feel like it's a conflict between your heart and your mind.
No, it's a conflict of being lazy or not, and whether you're willing to do the work. Going back to your ex is a lot easier, because that relationship, because you already formed a bond with them, even though it didn't work, that bond is still there. And rather than doing the work to pursue the guy or girl, because this is men and women, that you really want, you say, well, it's just easier just for me to go back, even though that relationship has proven that it doesn't work. It's just about not wanting to do the work. That's all it is.
Okay. Because if you know what you want and you're trying to attract what you want and you're trying to go after what you want, but then like your heart is still like, but it's still him. Like, but I still want him. I want to try to work it out. I want to see if we can get, but that's not.
But sometimes what you want changes. Like, you might have been with a good dude at the time. I was 24. I was with a really nice guy. He was a really nice guy, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want a really nice guy when I was 24, right? And so I ended things. I went back on the scene. I mean, things worked out. I got married, I got a baby. But relatively speaking, if things didn't work out, and I said to myself, you know what? I do want a nice guy. I do want someone who's stable. I do want someone who's loving. Now that I'm older, I'm more reflective. I know you don't believe in older, but
Right.
now I'm older, I'm more reflective, right? I could say I've now changed my mind and I want to reconsider this. Now, what?
Okay, so the word is not older. The word is she's more mature now. And see, this is the problem this is why I talk about, we need more nuclear families. We need more married couples in our community, because a lot of times when these single parent households, the kids are not maturing until later in life. And that's a problem. See, we need to raise our kids so they can mature faster. All right, at least mentally, because again, if she'd have been the woman she is now at 24, then that means that she would have recognized who that guy was. She wouldn't have blew it. All right. I mean, she said it worked out for her, because congratulations on the marriage, and now you building your whole family. But look how much time is wasted. She's not 24 anymore. So we got to start raising our kids to be more mature. Now, look, I get it. A lot of the things that women are looking for in men, they take time to build. But a problem with that is that we're not raising our daughters to be more mature, so that they can know the signs of someone who is going to turn into that guy. And see, this is where the vetting process comes back, because we're going to keep talking about this stuff. A lot of times, I think a lot of times you guys may be getting annoyed with the fact that we're just talking about the same things over and over again. Yeah, we are. Because those things aren't obvious to everyone. Otherwise, we would be doing better. We're not. So we're going to keep talking about this. The vetting process is important. Again, if the child is raised in a nuclear family, then that means that they have help with vetting. Well, women have help with vetting men, because you bring that man in front of your father, and I guarantee you, that guy she was talking about when she was 24, her father would have been like, you know what, I like him. He's going somewhere with his life. Versus opposed to what she was looking for out in the streets, and ain't nothing out there. It's nothing out there but more bad mistakes. So how is that going to help you if you want to get married? How does that help you? What is out there in the streets that's going to help you be a better woman for your husband? Nothing. Much more wasted time, more baggage. This goes to the reason why men prefer younger women. Less baggage. You got less experience, less negative experiences. So, that's a popular thing. But again, where do the men benefit in this and coming up with nuclear families? Because you have a positive role model and a father who can help you get your stuff together sooner. If you got to be those key signs that I was talking about before that women would have a better insight to. Those tend to stand out more if a guy has a father in his life and he's able to model. So it works for both genders, but it's something that we're going to have to start. At some point, we still got to start biting the bullet, and we got to just start raising more nuclear families. And again, the other benefit is that, a lot of you guys complain about women are being unrealistic today with what they want in a man. I agree. But you know what helps curb those unrealistic expectations? Nuclear families. Because you can see, again, this is why we need more married couples on YouTube, because you can see, well, wait a minute. That woman's married and her husband don't make $100,000 a year. How is she making it work? I thought that was impossible. No, it is possible. But again, if we don't see it, then all we have to go off is what people who aren't married tell us. Need more married people on YouTube. Need more marriages in our community. Let's go.
Whether or not he wants to give me a second chance, I would say he'd be dumb for doing so. But for me to go back, because I was the one who left, he was a good person. What I wanted has now changed.
But what if he wanted change too?
And now he don't want me?
Yeah.
I mean,
It don't be happening. That don't happen.
It's always one-sided, yo. I swear to God.
well, no, but I was honest. I said, he was
I
the
like
one who
it.
was mature.
I
He
love
was right. And that's not where I was yet, developmentally, emotionally, whatever. So sometimes you come to the realization that what that person was is exactly what you needed, and that's why you do need to go back again. Whether or not they want to give you a chance is up to them.
People are natural. I feel like more people are programmed to quit in life than they are to continue to push through, and that's why they decide to go back with it.
Facts. 100%. We've seen these on previous videos in the panel of women when they talk about, issues and, I'm just not going to deal with that. No, they should just leave. You trying to get married? Most people take a vow that, through thick and thin, for better or worse, richer or poorer. If the majority of the time, well, look, you guys get the point. Let's go.
For the ex, it's the comfortable route, and the comfortable route will never be non-existent for anybody. The only problem is it's never going to be fulfilling.
But my thing is, anytime I've thought about going back to an ex, actually there was a situation where I did. There was a situation, and it's because, again, you think the grass is going to be greener on the other side, and then you go back to something that you dated when you were younger, and you kind of realize, again, like you said, that person's mindset didn't necessarily grow over time. They didn't get wiser as they got older. So in that way, well, they did, but let me tell you actually what it was. Your attraction to that person kind of changes because things happen in your life that make you change a little. Things happen in that person's life that makes them change a little more. And then you go back, this time frame has passed, and now the things that have occurred during that time frame have changed the two of you in a certain way. And now you go back into the situation and you guys don't connect as much as you think. So I think sometimes, like, okay, that situation could have worked out, but because of the time that has passed, you guys are not the same, and you think it's going to work out, but it doesn't necessarily happen that way. So now, like, I've grown, I've been through certain experiences, and I no longer tolerate the certain things that I used to like.
Translation, you waited too long. And now both of you have baggage, and it's even harder to make it work. That's basically what she's saying. So, yeah, she's right. That's why, again, that's why the vetting process becomes so important, so you don't waste a lot of time. And, you know, that could have been, well, look, let's just keep going. We're almost at the end here. So,
Like in you, or the things that I used to tolerate in you, or the toxicity. Now I'm a person that doesn't care for toxicity. I used to be a person that loved it because it was fun. I was young. I didn't have a bigger plan for my future. But now that I'm back with you, the toxicity won't work for me. So therefore, this relationship can't work.
I'm glad she finally said that. He wasn't the right guy for you to begin with. So why are we talking about you going back to him? And that's it. That's assuming that what she says is correct, that he was the only toxic one. I have a hard time believing that, because it takes two people to make a relationship work. It takes two people to break one up too. The majority of the time. Now, I guess she's going to say, well, no, I broke up with him because he was just too toxic. I did nothing wrong. Right. But okay, let's go.
So, you know, I'm not going to tolerate the arguing all the time, because I'm a person that's like, all right, we got to talk things through. But you're not into that. You haven't grown to that level yet. So therefore, I'm not going to be able to operate in this situation. So that's why I say it's not really healthy to go back to situations all the time. Again, depending on why you guys broke up in the first place.
You know. So in other words, because you picked a toxic dude, and you found out that it didn't work, you're saying that, oh, well, you should never go back. No, you should just pick better the first time around. Again, I'm not saying it's her fault, because who did she, unless she tells me that, you know, she was the only one that vetted that guy and she picked him, then no, that is her fault then. Yeah, because women, you should be using a male figure that you value, you love, value, and respect to help you in mate selection. Does that mean that, you know, you should be their whole sole response? You give all responsibility over that they have to go and find that person? No. What I'm saying is that ultimately what the point here is that, number one, figure out what it is specifically that you're looking for, the type of man. We're talking about marriage here. So specifically the type of husband that you're looking for. Number two, you need to study that man, or that type of man, and figure out, in most cases, what type of woman or wife is he looking for. You need to work on at being the closest to that as you can. Again, is it guaranteed to work out? No, it's not. But your probability goes up considerably. The other thing is that once you meet that man, look, I'm not telling you to go out there and pursue him actively, right? But you do need to be prepared to metaphorically drop the handkerchief so that he does pay attention to you, so he can initiate things, right? After that initiation has occurred, then you need to have, that man needs to be vetted by a male family member who you love, value, and respect. Because that'll help cut down on these, you know, all these supposed toxic relationships that a lot of women keep complaining about that they get when they're younger. I'm having a hard time what I think is happening, personal opinion. I think that we're coming in with expectations that, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to find this person and everything's going to click and it's going to work out. And, you know, we just get married and happily ever after. Real life doesn't work like that. No, you're always going to have problems. It's whether or not, and she mentioned this before, right before the video cut out, is that, you know, conflict resolution is a thing. Well, yeah, you have to be able to talk things out, but we have to be able to understand each other first. It's like I mentioned in the previous video about, and I'll link it in the description, about men communicate, women just don't listen. Men and women communicate differently. And for conflict resolution to occur, we have to acknowledge that. That's one of the main reasons why conflict resolution is so tough, because we're different. But it's the acknowledgement that will get us to that next level. But look, guys, this is a great video. Definitely high level conversation. So we will be back with 8 at the table. I like the dynamic going on here. We're not arguing and yelling back and forth and name calling and all this other stuff. You know, the gender war is still dumb. I hadn't said that in a while. That didn't mean it went away. But I think that high level conversations are how we diffuse those arguments and keep things going. But anyway, I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. But do me another favor, like and subscribe, but also check out these here. Either subscribe or watch videos, one or the other. I don't know which side, but hey, all right.